Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel and today's very special episode. For I am with a very interesting and a special guest on my podcast. We're discussing something truly amazing, and I have someone all the way from San Francisco Bay Area who's taken out the time to talk to me. And I believe it's pretty late in the night, but we are going to be talking about some amazing work that this person has done in the US. He's someone who's making a great amount of strides in his career, and he's made the Indian diaspora in the US proud. He's won some ton of awards, like the International Best Intern Award in 2015, and more recently, the Best International Researcher for his research papers he's written in retail, fintech, AI, tech, and a ton of other spaces. In fact, he's got over 10,000 reads and close to 500 citations. He's someone who's currently working at Walmart in retail, having worked previously at Microsoft and even Nike, doing some amazing things, as they say, just do it. I have with me Mr. Pawankumar Sharma, who's currently a staff product manager at Walmart in last mile delivery. And he's also a research scholar on his way to getting his doctorate soon. So it will probably be Dr. Pawankumar Sharma soon. Huh? And today we'll be talking about his awesome journey and one of his research papers that made great strides for the Indian diaspora. Welcome, Pawan, to my podcast. How's it going? How's it going, Pawan? How are you?
Hey, thank you, Srini. Thank you for the rapturous welcome. And I feel great about myself now that I've heard it from you. Feeling great. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. A big hello to all the viewers and all the listeners all over the world who consume your podcast almost on a daily or weekly basis whenever you put it. And it's a privilege and it's an honor to be on your show and be one of the guests. This has been my lifelong dream to be on a podcast, and especially like hosted by someone like you who has been working in social digital media marketing for n number of years and who've had the greatest influence on the social media digital scene in India. And I remember, I believe your marriage was the first ever marriage that was done on Twitter in India. And I still
It was
remember that.
trending on Twitter, yeah, but it
It
was
was trending
actually,
on Twitter, yes.
we
And it
had a
was
Quora
trending
wedding.
in Quora wedding and very creative. And it's just a privilege for me to be here, talk in front of you, and share some of my views about my research and my career.
Sure.
Had a great opportunity, had a great run in the US, and thanks for inviting me here today.
Sure. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. In fact, we're going to definitely chat a lot about your interesting pieces of work you've done in the US, especially the white papers. So while we will talk about your research paper on the digital warfare in India and how India is taking on e-commerce giants, tell our audience a little bit about how you got into this space, your journey from India to the US, from Nike to Microsoft to Walmart. Yeah.
Certainly. Thanks so much. I was born and raised in Amchi, Mumbai, and I've been a Mumbai boy all my heart. And as I always say, if there's a place that's faster than New York, it's Mumbai. And Mumbai doesn't stop.
Sure.
And it's fast, 20 million people, a lot of energy. And that's where I get my energy from. Schooling and growing up in Mumbai, doing my bachelor's and my associates in computer and information technology.
Super.
Had a great run working in the social and digital media scene for 3.5 years, where I got to work for India's largest social media agency. So my background was agency, and I got to handle some of the major brands in India like Reliance Mobile and WeChat. Did some campaigns for them. I think I'd reached my fair share of achievements when I was working in the social and digital media scene. And I said, what's the next step? The next step is to go to US, do a master's, and make myself even prouder. So I landed in the US in 2013, went to the University of Nebraska, Omaha, and it's that place where I won my first big international award, which is the Best International Intern of the Year Award, 2014. from AIM Foundation. So AIM Foundation
Oh
is the
yeah,
largest.
I remember you've been covered also in the news, and you
I
did some
was,
great work for the
I was,
University of
I was. Thank
Nebraska.
you.
So yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
thank you for reminding me. What the award for the AIM Foundation was for the best international intern, where I developed a disaster management and recovery system from
Oh, lovely.
scratch in just 10 weeks, and that is able to recover 2,000 servers all over the world. And
Man,
the
that's
work that I
interesting.
did was instrumental in saving 600 man hours for the company every year. So over a
Oh,
period of 4 years, they could save $24 million. And I was covered in Omaha World Herald and a bunch of other websites for
superb,
that innovation and
superb.
that work. Apart
Yeah.
from that, the Twitter campaign that I did for the University of Nebraska at Omaha reached 5.6 million people, and it was the first time that an American university trended on Twitter in India at number one position for five
Nice.
consecutive days. It reached 5.6 million people, and I charge only $200 for that for my university. And like it was such an amazing
Great,
experience
man.
being there.
That's your all your marketing expertise came in handy then, I think.
Yes,
Working
yes,
in
it
India
is.
in the digital agency,
Yeah.
that
So
came in
I used to
handy.
do marketing campaigns on the fly on Twitter for WeChat and Reliance
Nice.
Mobile. And that's the
Superb.
experience that I had utilized to put my university on the map in India so they could
Right.
get
More
new
students, I
students from
suppose.
India. And at the same
Hmm.
time, the website traffic went up more than 200% during that time. So that's a big
Interesting.
achievement.
Interesting. Tell me a little bit about how Nike happened, right? I mean, it's one of the
Sure.
dream jobs for many people,
It
and
is. It
everyone
is.
aspires to get into Nike. Why don't
Yes.
you tell us about how Nike happened?
That is true. So Nike, a cult brand, has 70% of the shoe market. And Srini, if you ever get an opportunity to be at the Nike campus, I say you should do it.
Sure.
Just do it. Yes. It's one
Just
of the
do it,
most
Abby.
fascinating campus that you'll ever come across. And Nike
Nice.
happened by chance. So I was working
Mhm.
for companies spread across the US. I worked in Nebraska. I worked in Pennsylvania. I worked in a lot of fields that included mortgage, that included cable and wireless billing, that included commercial banking. One opportunity that I had at Nike was when I was at Pennsylvania, and I said, I have to drop everything and I have to go and work for Nike. And it's such a blissful experience where I got an opportunity to work with class SMEs who used to follow Scrum and Agile methodology, who would be
Mhm.
building products day and night. And I got an opportunity to work in a couple of divisions. One is the enterprise
Nice.
data and architecture, as well as global fulfillment and logistics. In global fulfillment and logistics, I myself led a team of 6 developers and I was
Oh,
a
lovely.
product owner. So it was such an
Good.
enthusiastic, great experience. And the challenge became fourfold because that gig came to me at the time when we were in pandemic. So everything that
Oh,
was related to retail
man.
and wholesale was down. And it was me who was supposed to scale up the digital
Online and digital kind of helped, didn't
Yes,
it?
exactly. And we had to convert the old legacy system to a new cloud system. AWS is the
Nice.
software that is used, and that was what was utilized by my company and my
Superb.
team in order to do the fulfillment. So very proud of that gig. Got to meet so
Great.
many people, got to see so many sports, and I
Oh,
wish
wow.
I could
Lovely,
just go
man. That
back to
that
that
must have been an
atmosphere
experience
again.
meeting sports
Oh yes.
personalities.
Oh yes. So it's like an experience of a lifetime, and I'd
Whom did
suggest.
you meet? Whom did you meet?
So I got to see Michael Jordan, and I also got to
Wow.
see some of my other people that I have been looking up to.
Sweet, man. I
Basketball
mean, Michael
legend.
Jordan is a legend. I mean, everybody follows him around the world. I
Yes.
loved his documentary, Last Dance. That was amazing.
Yes, yes.
Sweet,
And
man.
the great thing about is Nike has parking slots allotted and reserved to all these people. So each and every
Right.
time you see someone's car over there, you know that person is around in Nike campus. You
Interesting.
should
That's
definitely
interesting.
try to catch a glimpse of that person.
Lovely, man. Lovely. I think that's an experience in itself.
Yes.
And I think a lot of your work stems from the fact that you wanted to, anyways, use your marketing experience. And I think you did a contract or a role at Microsoft, and then moved
Yes,
into Walmart. Walmart
that is
also
true.
being one of the biggest,
It's the number one
companies.
Fortune 500 company in the world, more than
Yeah,
500
yeah. I
billion
mean,
dollars
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
revenue. What
I
more could
happen
you
to
ask?
read the book The Walmart Way, and it's interesting.
Yes.
So many insights I had learnt about from there, and I'm so happy that you are actually working at this mammoth of a company. Tell us a little bit about your experience at Walmart.
Sure. So Walmart, I'm working in a capacity as a staff product manager for last mile delivery, and I'm working in a field which is called shop and deliver proposition. Now,
Okay,
mind you, as a customer, everyone loves to go to Walmart and loves to get their groceries done and all. But during the time of pandemic, nobody could actually
of course.
physically go and work there.
Yeah.
So what happened is people started ordering online, and because of the large proportion of people ordering at the same time, we ran into issues with the slot where people
Hmm.
could book a slot for themselves and
Correct.
later on get their groceries. So in
Right.
order to figure out the solution to this problem, Walmart came up with gig drivers, and the fact that
Oh, nice.
these drivers would be able to willing to deliver the grocery at any point in time to the customers, so
Hmm.
they are able to service better, because
Sweet.
Walmart only had a limited set of vans that they could
Correct,
deliver
correct.
to the
No, I
customers.
think pandemic kind of gave a lot of these kind of challenge through a lot of challenges like these
Yes,
across the world. In fact, in India also, we've had our fair share of challenges of groceries and whatnot with
true,
the likes
true.
of Big Basket and many
Yes,
other online grocery
yes,
retailers. So I
yes.
think that's great. You've been hands-on working on all of these
Yeah.
projects,
And
and
Srini, one more thing. The
yeah.
fastest segment that grew during the time of pandemic was grocery, online grocery.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd worked in my time back then in a digital agency. We'd done a research report also,
Really?
so
Oh,
that was actually one of the top, of course, insights.
yes.
And I mean, it's no surprise that was obviously
I
the
mean,
topmost bought thing
sure.
online.
I mean, every adversity is an opportunity.
Yes,
So
of course.
that's an opportunity that you need to think
True that.
about, you need to devise. And Walmart did amazingly great
Sweet.
job with this shop and deliver proposition that I work on. I own the product part of it. It's called
Nice.
Spark Shopper, and
Okay.
it's giving a run of the money for all the competitors that are out there.
Nice.
Instacart, be it DoorDash, and others who are in that space, and we're
That's
just
great.
expanding at a crazy rate, and getting it all the accolades, and most
I
importantly,
can imagine. I
delivering
mean,
it to
I've
our
been having
customer.
so. I can imagine absolutely because I've been asking you for time for this podcast. We finally recorded after months, so I can
Yeah.
imagine how busy you must be. So I
Oh
understand
yeah,
that for
yes. It's a,
sure.
it's a thrill ride. It's a joy ride. Lots of challenges, but a lot of satisfaction as well. That you are innovating something and you are making people think
Right.
and learning the customer habits, the consumer habits, and
Hmm.
finally, how do you get into the seamless experience that you provide to
Excellent.
the customers without actually having to go like
Excellent.
5-6 miles in a store and
Hmm.
spending a couple of hours or more. That's the average number of
Interesting.
time that people go to a store maybe in a week and actually
Okay.
spend that time picking up their groceries. People are more than happy to spend $15 more if they get all the deliveries at home within a
Yeah,
specific
yeah.
quite time
Absolutely. It's
period.
convenience,
And
right? At the
that,
end of the day.
yeah, it's convenience, and that just increases our customer satisfaction rate and value, and
Superb.
you cannot beat the price at Walmart.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. You brought some. In fact, I'll segue to something which you mentioned, and because you gave such interesting insights about consumer behavior and customer behavior, especially when it comes to retail and groceries. And let's talk about what you've really done intense studies on, written your white paper about, and I did read it. It's
Yes,
quite intriguing and quite interesting. I feel how this whole concept. I was not aware of this when I read your paper. I heard about ONDC, Open Network for
yes.
Digital Commerce. So why don't
Mhm.
you tell my audience a little bit about what ONDC stands for, or rather what ONDC
Sure.
is all about?
Sure. So as you rightly pointed out, ONDC is a new concept, is actually a framework or an architecture which is based on an open source platform, so that
Hmm.
buyers and sellers can interact and have the transactions and have the payment done over an open source platform, unrestricted atmosphere.
Nice.
And one of the objectives of having the ONDC, and it's an initiative by the government of India, is to
Hmm.
have a level playing field for all the buyers and sellers. 80% of the retail market is owned and operated by small retailers in India.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
you've had big retailers like Amazon and Flipkart come into the picture.
Correct.
And in order to not have any kind of monopoly or not have any kind of platform restrictions where people
Hmm.
can only buy and sell through those platforms,
Right.
and prevent unfair competitive advantage to the e-commerce giants.
Right. Yeah,
The
I mean, in a lot of
ONDC.
sellers are based local sellers who probably all of these e-com companies onboard, and they kind of give them the opportunity as well, if I'm not
Sure,
mistaken.
sure. You are correct. So ONDC, think of it as a framework, open framework, where people
Hmm.
can deliver and have goods and services bought or sold from a customer, retailer, buyer,
Right.
and have a level playing field, so that the framework within which it is
Hmm.
standardized, the competitive market prices do not drop
Right.
below a certain level. I'll give you an example.
Yeah, that'll be
Think of
help.
a
I was
guy.
going to ask you
Yeah.
that.
Sure. Think of a guy who owns a small electronic shop in one part in India, in a small city in India.
Hmm.
So, and think about bigger retail giants who are kind of selling their
Hmm.
goods and services at a higher price. Now, in order to compete and in order to sell better, they can have manufacture these large number of units of television sets, and say sell it to their customers at a price of, say, 15,000 rupees.
Hmm.
The smaller retailer can only sell a specified number of units in the local area for, like, say,
Correct.
20,000 rupees. So in
Hmm.
order to have
That's
the
being basically going to
unexpected
the store, right? Like people
exactly,
having footfalls
exactly.
in the store. Okay.
Yeah, and what happens is, because of the smaller units, and because of the smaller margin and the volume of goods that you have, even if
Hmm.
that retailer puts it up online, he won't be able to match the price of, say, a huge retail giant who has,
Correct. Because
so
they have
many
deep
stores and
discounts and stuff, I believe.
deep discounts, exactly. And a lot of e-commerce companies have done that in the past, and even the other companies in other industries, is they give you deeper discounts to finish the competition. And once the competition is finished, like, they jack up their prices and sell you goods and
Oh
services
yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
whatever cost they
We
feel like.
know about all of these big days in
Yes,
India. That's something which is happening. So tell me
absolutely.
something in terms of ONDC. In
Sure.
layman terms, do you think it's a game changer compared to the e-commerce space in the world as compared to how
It
it's
would
happening here?
definitely be a game changer, because I'll give you some of the projections that the government of India and the industry experts are thinking
Sure.
about it. In the next 5 years, what is ONDC going to do? And that's going to be a game changer.
All right.
46 billion sales target, that is one.
Mm.
10 billion purchases in network,
Wow.
enhanced zip codes and coverage across all the areas across India, adding 120 million buyers per year, and not
Wow.
just till the next 5 years, and also 1.2 million sellers. In fact,
And
the
that's a
retail,
fast number, like
that's
growing
huge. Yeah,
rapidly.
that's big. And you'll be surprised to know that over the next 5 years, the Indian digital retail space will grow and be at 900 billion US dollars.
Hmm.
So that's the
Hmm.
estimation. And another factor that has to be kept in mind is that the online India's appeal to the global retailers is also difficult to dismiss, with 800 million smartphone users, that is only
Hmm.
second next to China. So if you look at all the figures that I presented, I have said to you, it looks like to be
Yeah.
a game
Yeah.
changer, a fair playing field, then curbing monopoly and preventing a market failure. Uh,
That encourages
what else?
oligopoly in a way. So
Yes,
that's
yes,
great. That's great.
yes,
In fact,
yes.
so tell me a little bit about more about the research paper in terms of like how did you think of this idea? What was your motivation to write this paper when you could, like why did you go about conducting studies on this specific topic?
Sure. Since I'm in retail, my bread and butter is retail. I look at the retail scene, and not only I
Hmm.
look at the retail scene from a digital perspective, but I also look at space holistically all over the world. What
Globally.
are the
Okay.
changes happening in the US?
Hmm.
What are the changes happening in India? And the Indian retail space is changing quite rapidly as compared
Okay.
to US, because I
Hmm.
think Indian banking system is far more advanced than the US banking system. On top of it, the digital
we
transactions that have
yeah,
happened over the past 3 years, and India is moving at it's not moving at a snail's pace. I'd say
absolutely.
India is referred to as an elephant. I think the elephant is jogging right now rather than the elephant being moving.
No, no, no. I
And
can imagine why you say that for sure.
yeah, there are interesting thing happening in the US as well, as far as shop and deliver proposition is concerned, new technology. But
For sure.
the
It's a
the
mature
the
market, though. US has
yes,
advanced to a great
it's
stage,
a
and
mature
they've
market.
achieved a lot.
Exactly.
I believe in
Yes.
every space. So that's great. You have a mix of best of both worlds from your learning as well
Exactly.
as your experience working in
Experience.
India and
Exactly.
growing up in India. So that's really
So
good, man. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so I was looking at the retail space in both the industries, and then I thought about what can be done, because everything in US is like privately owned and capitalistic economies, and
Hmm.
owned by companies, and they deliver services to you.
Right.
There's not many initiative which come from the government, because government is hands off. While in India, it's a bigger space, it's a mass medium, and government,
True.
if they help to drive a level playing field and avoid monopoly, and can get the buyers and consumers in a safer, better, more
Hmm.
economical space, I think India
Hmm.
is going to grow with leaps and bounds. And uh,
Nice.
considering what I said about the retail industry, online digital retail industry being 900 billion US dollars every year,
Wow.
the objective is also to domesticate the goods and services and have the best technology that's out there to give it to the people of a nation which has more than 1.2 billion people. And in fact, I just came to know that it's become the largest populous country in the world, India, recently. The
Yes,
more
of
number of
course.
consumers, the better it is for the government. More number of transactions, and
Better for
the
all,
speed
like all
yeah, better
the
for all. Yeah,
companies who are selling, then people who are
selling
getting,
and
because
buying,
there's a
and
lot of dispensable income also coming in
it
India in
is,
terms of
it is,
economy rapidly growing, being
it
probably the
is.
fifth.
Yeah,
I mean, recently fifth in economy wise across the world. India has
correct,
gone to that stage. A
correct.
lot of companies have been eyeing India. Bill Gates had come to India once, and recently a
Yeah,
lot of other folks across the spaces have been looking at India as a growing market. So I think what you're doing and what your research paper has done
yes.
is tremendous. And
And
like I
that's what
mentioned,
attracted me, yeah, in the first place, to write a research
mhm,
paper and bring it out to
superb.
the world. And there are not many people who know about such huge advances are happening in India. And you're going to see
Hmm,
the effects of these in the next 3, 4, 5 years to a much larger scale, because ONDC
nice.
was only selected for 5 cities across India. Now the objective is to have it over 200 cities.
Wow,
And they have
that's
reached a
deep.
fairly
That's
good
huge.
amount of number as far as the cities are concerned in India.
Superb.
So that's like a new innovation, new idea. I said I have to cover it and I have to review it.
Sweet, man. That's something which, I mean, I really appreciate the fact that, you're true to your roots, but at the same time, you're giving the global audience an advantage to kind of see through the growth of the Indian retail and e-commerce space. And at the same time, because you're already working in that space, you have a pulse of things and trends across the board. So tell me something, now that I've got some amazing insights about this space and about ONDC specifically, can you tell us a little bit more about the benefits and advantages and the economic impact of ONDC across the world?
Sure, that's a very good question. So, since we have started in India, we are still actually trying to assess most of the impact. But some of the e-retail challenges that the ONDC plans to address is the limited competitiveness of new sellers. Like digital marketplaces
Hmm.
have matured into massive integrated platforms, and they
Hmm.
connect sellers and buyers with integrated services.
Hmm.
The rapid rise of platforms has made it difficult for new vendors to compete unless they are part of a well-established end-to-end service provider. So
Understood.
that's what ONDC is going to do.
Okay.
This concentration of risk gives platforms excessive power. As I said, the NDC will usher in a new e-commerce revolution in India.
Right.
The growth in the platform size might lead to the concentrations risk. And I'm quoting as per a new study. So even if a
Okay.
government platform is used to consolidate digital commerce, the risk
Mhm.
is increased and a single point of failure is created. Okay.
Right. Right.
The freedom of exclusion and discriminatory behavior comes with a concentration of ability, and
Right.
small and medium sized businesses are unable to compete in the market
Yeah,
on their
meaning
terms.
open source gives an advantage to kind of
Exactly.
decentralize things in a way, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And there's also a thing that sometimes it's difficult for sellers to want to be on multiple platforms, and there are
Correct.
existing tools in every platform. Like if you are part of Amazon Marketplace, or if you're part of Flipkart Marketplace, you might not be able to sell on different digital platforms. And even if you sell on different digital platforms, you cannot sell over a large number of multiple platforms. Because
Understood.
there might be some rules, there might be issues with the reach and all. ONDC is going to solve all the problem that is associated, where one single
Right.
platform, irrespective of the buyer or seller,
Mm.
everyone will come, everyone will have the same
Nice.
number of transactions across, and everyone will have the ability to get the coverage, because they are
Okay.
trying to distribute it everywhere in India with the help of zip codes. So if you
Wow.
remember, every postal service available in India within 5 kilometers. Think of
Yeah.
a postal service, an SBI bank branch,
Mm.
and ONDC on the same lines. And when
Sweet,
you're
man.
getting economical service, quick service, better service, why would you go to any other platform? And
Absolutely.
all the retailers and buyers and sellers will be on the same platform. So it's good for
Interesting.
everyone.
So, let me ask you this: how far out do you think is for full-fledged implementation for this to happen?
Yes,
ONDC as a concept to happen, like how many years do you give it
sure.
to come to
So the
fruition in a sense?
Yes. So the plan was for ONDC to reach 100 cities by 2022. It hasn't
Uh-huh.
happened, but they are moving at a rapid pace. And if you are to look at things like the UPI, the digital linking, and
Correct.
mobile network restrictions that are being stumbled upon by ONDC growth, that's like kind of harpening the
Hmm.
ONDC growth to the level or the planning that was initially thought. But the
Okay.
growth of integrating ONDC with village level entrepreneurs and CSC Grameen e-stores is already in the works.
Oh,
And
lovely.
it is being currently hampered by operational issues. But as more number of buyers and sellers join the platform, and when it has a wider reach, I think it's not going to uh, grow. It's going to explode across India. So that's my sentiment.
Superb.
So
Superb.
give
So,
1 more year.
help me
We should.
understand. Sorry to interrupt. Help me
Yeah,
understand a little bit. So, what are the main challenges that ONDC faces, or what is it that actually? Let's dig deep, or rather go back to
sure.
the whole. Like right now, we are still, I would say, pre ONDC. What are the
Mhm.
main challenges that ONDC helps address better, apart from, of course, what you
Sure.
mentioned, decentralizing things and having one single platform, making it easier for the sellers, even local and whoever are not aware or have access to
Yeah,
larger sellers and platforms. So
sure.
tell me, what challenges do they face, and what are certain challenges you feel you need to
True.
overcome?
True. The first and foremost, as you might have guessed, is the technological challenge. So
Hmm.
ONDC's main challenge is to match the platform's technological viability with the
Okay.
increasing number of transaction and clients. It needs to compare with some of the finest apps in the world, like Amazon, Flipkart, or Uber. There's also
Yeah.
growing pressure on ONDC to keep up with the latest mobile apps and meet customer demands.
Oh yeah. Oh
Concerns
yeah.
about zip code coverage and delivery expansions are also raised to suit India's need. I'd say another hurdle for ONDC network facing now and in the future is the rising concern over cyber security on online fraud. So as you see the
That's true.
network scale up, it's going to go in 200 plus cities in India. You'll also see large number of cases that will come out because of the cyber security and online fraud. Maybe we'll see another nature of security issues that are associated with ONDC, as
Hmm.
it becomes the heart and soul of India, and the government, the buyers, sellers, everyone is on the same platform. But
Understood.
nonetheless, it would be interesting to
Hmm.
see how we address those challenges, because I think we have enough manpower, enough
Correct.
technology, security in the world to take
Yeah, of
stock of
course.
those things. I mean, think about the fact that we have implemented Aadhaar card in India itself, and
Yes,
it's
that's a
working
good
out well.
testament to
Yes.
scale and the mass.
I
That
think
implementation took a while, but I think it is fairly well implemented so far.
yes, and I think if we can deal with that challenge, we can certainly deal with the ONDC challenge
Superb,
and the
superb.
technological shortcomings.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it also gives a lot more boost to the Indian economy, and
It does, it does.
there'll be
Mm,
more sellers coming up, and there'll be
sure.
more opportunity because one of the things I've learned in my marketing career is, rural India is a huge beast that needs to be tapped, and it's
Yes,
very
it is.
difficult to get through to the audience considering the different amount of languages, geographies, culture, so deep rooted, and there are so many challenges, and technology being just one of them. So I think you
Yes.
made a fair point of how this is going to change the scale. That's been a great thing that you have really worked on, and I believe researchgate is where people can read your research paper, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
both
I'll drop the
ResearchGate
links in
and
the comment and in
yes,
my description for sure for users,
thank you.
for your research paper, especially this paper, and of course your other papers. So speaking of which, what other things are you or have you been working on besides the digital e-commerce paper that I've read? What are certain
Uh,
things that you've been working on?
sure. So my areas of research include cloud computing, cyber security,
Wow.
and also artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies.
AI
So
is the big
these
rage
are
nowadays,
some,
huh?
yeah. So
With
these are
chat
like some.
GPT and whatnot.
Exactly, I wrote a chat GPT and presented it in my first IEEE conference a week
Oh,
ago.
lovely.
Pretty
Oh,
proud of
lovely.
it. And I
Superb,
still have
man.
to catch up to chat GPT 4 because it's from my former employer, Microsoft. And
Of
it's going to
course.
be interesting how things change so rapidly. So I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to
Interesting.
see what I can write and what I can do my research in. I can be found
Lovely.
both on ResearchGate and Google Scholar. And as you rightly pointed out, I've got about 29 papers written on
Wow.
various topics,
Sweet.
and it has close to 500 citations. So it looks like people are consuming my research, and really
Lovely.
happy and proud about it, Srini.
Great, man. Congratulations. It's been
Thank
such a
you.
great privilege to talk to you. Thank you so
Same
much for
here.
coming on my podcast. And I really
Thank you so
had
much
a
for
great time chatting
inviting
with
me.
you.
And just like you said, I'm making India proud and the Indian diaspora proud. I also want to tell you that you have been making Indian social and digital media proud for quite some time
You're
now.
being too kind.
I think you worked over like 22 years or something. Started at a
Yeah.
very young age, at 19 years. And I read your articles. I read your research. I read. Everything that's on the social and digital media scene, and
Thanks,
it
man.
only inspires me to be good, come to your level, and hopefully meet you
Yeah.
in some time very soon.
Yeah, you should. We should definitely hit up when you're in the country,
Back
or
in
if I'm
home.
in the
Yes.
States.
Yeah,
Definitely, I'll hit you up.
absolutely. It would be a
Great.
privilege. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Pawan. And with that, I'm signing off and hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And do share and look forward to giving you more of such interesting episodes in the future. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Srini. A
Bye
privilege to be
bye.
here. Great, and take care of yourself. Goodbye to all the audiences of your podcast, and have a wonderful, wonderful life ahead of you.